Hey everyone, it's been a while, but I'm back with a devlog for Hypogean Descent. Stay tuned for this look into some new equipment, monster designs, gore, and more. Right, without further ado, let's get into it. So, what have I been up to these past few months? Well, life gets busy, as we all know, and the majority of April I just took time away from the project. I spent my free time sort of planning out the demo release and doing very small bits of progress on the project, but happy to say that I'm back in the swing of things and I've made some really good progress. So, since the last video, I've set a rough deadline for the demo, and that has come with a lot of planning. I've planned out various areas I need to develop for the game for it to be ready for a public hands-on. So the main areas of development I need to cover in the next few months are game content, such as levels, equipment, entities, and progression. Number 2 is the UI. I have tons of UI in this game, and right now they're just incredibly basic, stock Unity look, and they need a lot of work. 3, sound design. That's going to be a big project, but it adds a lot to the game and it needs to be done. 4, overall polish and game feel. And 5, optimization, bug fixing, and adding options for users. Okay, before I get into the showcase of the work I've made over the past few weeks, I want to start by saying that these devlogs will contain a lot of spoilers for the game, and with this being a short horror game, it may lessen the experience if you decide to play the game. If you leave the video now, thank you for watching, and please leave a like and wish us the game if you feel like it. For those wanting to see more, let's take a look at what I've done. Okay, so first on the agenda, I created this new area. This is an underwater segment for a level later in the game. It's very spacious and contrasts the tight, claustrophobic environments that make up the bulk of the traversal in the game. It's quite an odd area too. It features a lot of classic Lovecraftian themes. So we've got deep water, check. We've got underwater structures, check. We got large waterborne entity, check. And the list goes on. This is very by the books Lovecraftian, but it's something I love, and I think if it's done well, it adds a lot to the game. I'm really excited to develop this further and see what you guys think when you get to play it. Now, with me developing this area, I wanted to make it a large area. I wanted to, like I said before, contrast that tight claustrophobic feel of the navigation in the game. And this revealed some issues. So, the drone's movement is at a very moderate pace. It's intentionally quite slow. The reason for this is it allows the player to make very precise movements in small confined environments and have a lot of control of what they're doing. I want players to not feel frustrated by the drone moving too quick and smashing into walls, smashing into objects, and just it wouldn't be a fun experience. So I've made the choice to make the drone quite slow, but it's all intentional. It's all for these small compact environments. However, when I make a massive environment like this, traversing it takes a long time, like far too long, and it's not interesting, it's not fun. So what did I do? Well, I added a boost mode to the drone. Now I can toggle this on and off and move very quickly and cover long distances in a short amount of time. You can use this wherever you want. You can use it in small environments, large environments, however you feel. This doubles as a dodge too. You can use it to avoid danger if you master the controls correctly. I've kind of left this open to the player to use as they see fit. And they can take the risks if they want, and if they get really good at the game, they might be able to zip around some really small environments and remain unharmed. Once I had this area created, I then populated it with some game content. So I added this altar, and I'm not going to spoil what it's used for, what it is, but you'll have to find out in the full release. I added the classic elder sign, which I'm sure any fans of Lovecraft will recognize. I also added one of my greatest fears to the game. Look away if you don't want any spoilers, but this is what you will encounter when you're in this area. Okay, that's a little showcase of one of the levels I've been working on, but moving on from that, I added some additional equipment. I added a flamethrower and I added a bomb system. These two pieces of equipment open up the game progression a little bit, and I can introduce these items slowly and give them to the player each level and give them more things to use as the game progresses. These items are multi-purpose and you can use them for various different things. and they're all good at their own different job. So for example, the bombs can be used to deal damage to any entities you see, but they can also be used to clear out cave-ins, and the flamethrower can be used to also deal damage, but it can also be used to clear out thick cobwebs or break down areas. These all have their own individual resources, so you'll always have a way to deal damage and break down things in the environment to unlock new areas or new paths towards your destination, but they're not essential. So speaking of multi-purpose, I'd like to show you something I implemented for the mining jackhammer. So you've seen this before, splitting minerals open, which is how you gather the equipment for each level, but take a look at this. Yeah, so as expected, being hit with a high-powered pneumatic drill tends to deal quite a lot of damage to human beings, but more on that in the full release. Okay, so these new pieces of equipment are all functional, but I need something to use them on. Now, Hypogean Descent is not a combat-focused experience, but I do want boss battles with entities to be part of the game. So I decided to make one of my first bosses. So this entity is currently unnamed, but I'll give a description of what it is and give you a bit of an idea of what to expect. So this entity is an apex predator. It will kill any living being it deems a threat. It will use their body to lay its eggs, and its young will inherit strength from the defeated foe. This is how the boss sustains its lineage, and it's up to you to sort of deal with that. If you take a look at this boss, it's a spider. It's based on the trapdoor spider, which means it's very good at hiding and ambushing its prey. It's silent, fast, and very robust. However, it's blind. It senses movement in the environment by wiggling its tongue and moving its arms around very slowly to sense the environment around it. So it's up to you to be very careful and as quiet as possible when trying to tackle this foe. So this entity, I kind of took inspiration from Monster Hunter with the way that they design creatures, which is essentially like taking a handful of different creatures and combining them. So I kind of picked these three things because there are three sort of things that I find interesting. One is trapdoor spider. They freak me out and I don't like how quick they are and how good hunters they are. So that made a great base for the monster. I really don't like this sort of design of all the teeth inside a mouth, and you know, from the big worms in June, that thing always freaks me out. So I added that in there. And then also I wanted to add the blindness of a bat, which I know bats aren't blind, but I like the idea of something that's blind but still very, very strong. So I did make some animations for this. I made the entrance animation, some attack animations, damage received animations, eating animations, and I've actually segmented this boss into two parts. I split the face into one part and the body into another. The reason for this is because it can tackle two different jobs at the same time while acting independently if I so choose. I can program this to work in unison together or independently, which just gives me a bit of flexibility. It's something I want to try out, which I'll see if it works in testing or not. So the next stage is just to polish this up, make sure it works correctly, and make sure it's actually fun to play. I'm really trying to toe the line of making this difficult but not frustrating, so that will probably require a lot of testing, which, you know, when the demo's out, you guys can try it out and let me know how it is. Okay, so that generally wraps up the bulk of development. Some of the things I've worked on are just the story. I've scripted out the whole story and planned out how I'll deliver that throughout the game. I've done a lot of bug fixing and refactoring just because some code was just old and unusable, and you know, as I improve it's always nice to go back and just change things a little bit and make it cleaner. I've done some balancing for the game because when I restructured the levels, the balancing was a little bit off, and I've just been staying on top of general project management. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I've been up to. I just want to say that I really appreciate everyone sticking around for these videos. I know I don't post too often, but I am a game developer first and I do YouTube second. I only want to post things when I have something to show. I don't want to fill my YouTube channel with filler content and stuff that people just aren't here for. But I do have some other videos planned in the future, and it shouldn't be such a long wait between videos now. Like I said, I just want to show things when I have something to show. I don't want to, like I said, I just want to show things when I have something to show. I don't want to play into that trend of just posting for the sake of posting. I don't think it's useful. So I'd rather just put my time into development if I think that's better served. But, you know, with that being said, I do really appreciate everyone watching these videos and giving feedback. It's all very, very useful, and it's fun to interact with you guys. If you like the video, please subscribe, leave a like, and wishlist the game if it looks like something you'd be interested in. You can join the Discord too if you want to. I'm not too active in there, but I do post updates every now and again. We do have other people posting their games in there, which is always really nice, and some people getting involved there. It's very quiet and chilled Discord, but that's where you're going to hear everything first, and that's where I'm going to be posting the private playtesting when that's available, so join that if you're interested in it. But yeah, thanks so much again, and I'll see you in the next one.